Let's take a look at a recent handout where we factored these polynomials by grouping. We're going to take a look at the first two terms here, and we're going to ask ourselves, what do they have in common? 5x cubed, take away 15x squared, have a 5x squared in common. Open yourself up a parentheses, factor the 5x squared from the first term, 5x cubed leaves you with an x. 5x squared from the negative 15x squared leaves me with negative 3. Take a look at the last two terms and repeat that process. 6x take away 18x has a minus 6 or a plus 6 in common. 6 from the 6x leaves me with an x. 6 from the negative 18 leaves me with a negative 3. It's very important that the parentheses are the same at this stage. Take that parentheses that is the same, put it here, and in a second set of parentheses, put the 5x squared that you factored out from the first two terms and the plus 6 that you factored from the last two terms. Number 2, 4x cubed, take plus the 20x squared, have a 4 and an x squared in common. Take the 4x squared from the 4x cubed, you're down to an x. From the 20x squared, you have plus 5. On the end, the last two terms, 3x and 15, have a 3 in common, with the same x plus 5 when the 3 is factored out of those two terms. See how the parentheses are the same? That's very important. Take that parentheses, put it in front, put the 4x squared that you factored out and the 3 that you factored out in a separate parentheses. Those parentheses can be turned around. It's just important that you have both of those. Number 3, these first two terms have an x squared in common. When an x squared is factored from a 5x cubed, you have a 5x. When it's factored from a plus 3x, you have a plus 3. The last two terms, we have a negative leading, so we'll factor out a negative. Negative 20x take away 12 has a negative 4 in common. When a negative 4 is factored from a negative 20x, you have 5x positive. And when a negative 4 is divided into a negative 12, you have plus 3. See how the parentheses are the same? Put that in front. Put the x squared minus 4 in a separate parentheses. Now we could do one more step on this problem because this last parentheses is the difference of squares. So the first parentheses comes down. The second parentheses will become x minus 2 and x plus 2. Number 4, 8x cubed minus 6x squared has a 2 in common and an x squared in common. When that's factored out, you have a 4x, take away 3. 28x minus 21 has a plus 7 in common. That'll leave me with the same 4x minus 3. If the parentheses aren't the same, you would say the answer of the problem is prime. Put that parentheses here, and the two things that I factored out in a separate parentheses. Let's do a few more here. Take out an x squared from the first two terms, 5x minus 6. Take a minus 5 from the second two terms. A negative leads, so you must pull out a negative. Be 5x minus 6 also. 5x minus 6 out front. X squared minus 5 here. Take out an x squared. 5x minus 4. The last two terms has a negative leading again. 20 and 16 have a 4 in common. Leaves me with the same 5x take away 4. 5x take away 4 up front. And the things that I factored out in a separate parentheses. And just like the problem above, we can factor that because that is a nice difference of squares. Two x cubed plus 10x squared, we can pull out a 2x squared. Leaves me with an x plus 5. The 5x plus 25 there at the end, I can pull out a 5. Leaves me with the same x plus 5. X plus 5, same parentheses, pull it up front. 2x squared plus 5. 5x cubed, 35x squared, 5x squared. Leaves me with an x plus 7 when you factor that out. 4x and 28 have a 4 in common. The parentheses are the same. Four x cubed, take away 7x squared, has an x squared in common. Leaves me with 4x minus 7. Minus 16, take away the 28, has a minus 4 in common. Leaves me with a positive 4 minus 7. And looky there, just like the 2 right above it, we can factor that difference of squares. Just a quinky-dinky that all those were there. And let's do one more. 3x cubed plus x squared have an x squared in common. Leaves me with 3x plus 1. Minus 3x minus 1, a negative lead, so you always put out a negative. But there's nothing in common, so don't be afraid to put down a 1. Leaves me with the same 3x plus 1. Parentheses are the same. Leaves me with an x squared minus 1, which is another difference of squares. This will be 3x plus 1, x minus 1, x plus 1. Hey, I hope those 10 examples help. Have a nice day. Hug your folks. They deserve it.